So the first step for us in trying to produce the drawings for this, right? I mentioned elevations, I mentioned floor plans, I mentioned sections. The first one I want to show you, which is the simpler version of that sequence, is how to do an elevation, right? So an elevation is basically just looking at the side view of your object. So let me turn on shaded viewport, shade all viewports. So it's basically just looking at the side of your object. In this case, it's the top view. That's not the one I want. Let's go back to wireframe. Not that. There we go. So it's basically just looking at the side of your object, and anything that you can't see behind that object gets taken out of the drawing. So you're flattening all the line work into a two-dimensional product, and it's either differentiating or eliminating that extra line work. But to get us ready, I'm not going to actually execute the command, but I will show you what it looks like first so that we can think ahead to what's going to make it a good workflow for us. So turn that off. If I select my object and I say, I want to take my front elevation and I want to make an elevation drawing out of it, two-dimensionally, the command, and you guys are going to hear a lot of this command, so you can write it down if you want. Otherwise, you're going to hear it probably 10 to 12 times more from me again today. So Make2D is the command. And really what it does is it very explicitly just takes your view and it makes it a two-dimensional line work drawing. So when you type in Make2D and you hit enter, this is what pops up. The drawing layout portion basically is just saying, where am I going to take my reference from? And for me, I like to typically use current view. I don't think that we're going to use much of the other settings here in this class. We won't need to. This class is more about your basic elevations, floor plans, and sections. The options are fairly significant. What I do want to point out to you is this one that's called Show Hidden Lines. And Show Hidden Lines is actually really important because the hidden lines are what I think makes a drawing absolutely stunningly beautiful. In a two-dimensional format, seeing all the hidden lines in a really clear way is something that makes, I think, the presentation that much better. So we will use that. But real quick, though, before we move forward, look at the bottom. It says Layers for Make2D Objects. And right now, there are 2 layers that it's assigning, and it's set up for Make2D visible lines, and then Make2D visible clipping planes. If you pull down the menu, you'll see that it actually lists a series of layers. So that tells you that what's going to happen is this line work that it's producing, this two-dimensional drawing, is being placed on user-specified layers. So you specify what layers it goes on. And so now, me knowing that, I'm going to say, I'm going to make a layer for it because I want to know exactly what I'm looking at every time. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel out of this, and you should follow along with me here. But we're going to make 2 new layers. We're going to make a layer for object lines, and then we're going to make a layer for hidden lines. So I click on New Layer. I call this one Object. And I'll change the color. I don't think I've used aquamarine yet. It doesn't matter what color you use. Yeah. And then another one for hidden. So I've got object and hidden. And so that one will be lavender. Sure. Actually, they're not going to show up well, so I'll do purple. And object, I'm going to switch to dark green. All right, so I could show you the elevation and that's really the product we want. But before doing that, I want to just illustrate to you the power of this. Let me go into perspective real fast and grab a very exaggerated view. And don't follow along with me right now. I want you to just watch and understand what it does. So in this viewport, I'm going to play with the perspective and change the lens length to, say, 22. And I'm going to get down real low on my model. And I'm going to look up at it and get a very, very kind of exaggerated sort of angle, right? So trying to draw that in a very skewed perspective is very, very difficult. It takes a lot of construction lines. You have to know where your horizon vanishing points are. And then you need to have all of your geometry projected up in a series of projections. If you've ever seen how to draw a perspective by hand, it's really, really difficult. But Make2D is incredibly powerful because I can just type in the Make2D command. I can say I want to see my hidden lines. I say I want my visible lines on the object layer and my hidden lines on the hidden layer. And I'm not worried about the other ones, but I hit OK. And then here in the top view, you see it took all of my line work and projected it down into a two-dimensional format. It's incredibly powerful. So I will walk you through that again. So I just wanted you to see it and see how fast it is, just me running through it real fast. But anyway, let's do this, and we'll do it on, for now, let's do it on the top view. The top view would be pretty nice to do it on. So the top view, just kind of taking an aside here for some commentary, the top view is technically what you would call a roof plan if you're going to take it as an elevation and borrow the same elevation properties, which means you can't see the floor plan or the building is not cut, and so you see the roof. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a Make2D after I've selected all of the objects in the top view. And for me right now, I don't need the hidden lines on. If you want them on, I think you can put them on.
So we're going to select all of them?
All of the objects, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to go the simple route, I'm okay with you not dealing with hidden lines right now. I'll explain it to you, but if you want to keep it simple and just do your object lines, that's fine. But I'm going to also speak to the hidden lines as well. So all you do is you have current view, hidden lines, you set the layer you want it to go on, and then you hit OK. Now, before you do anything after hitting OK, I just want to stress that if you hit escape or if you click somewhere else in the workspace, you're going to lose the line work that you drew. The downside is with a model that's right here at the origin, all that line work is actually going to be inside of your model, which is really kind of annoying. So the best practice here is to make sure that you move it out of the way right after you do your Make2D, or you move your model somewhere else so your Make2Ds get dumped at the origin, because they're always going to show up there. But just a note that you should make for yourself is if you need to select that reference that you accidentally deselected, as long as you haven't selected anything else yet, you can type in SELPREV for select previous, and it'll allow you to reselect the line work that you previously had in your selection. However, if I accidentally click on another geometry like that, and I try to do select previous to get back to it, I unfortunately have lost it. So you can probably just Control-Z to undo the Make2D, or just type in undo, Control-Z. I like to use Control-Z for undo. And then just do it again. So I activate Make2D, grab everything in the top view. All my settings are still there, and I hit OK. Then I can zoom around and pan and pull it off to the side, and I've got my drawing right there.
Do it again.
Yeah, I'll do it again. So Make2D, the whole, as a summary here, the whole process of doing a Make2D, as long as you've got your layers set up.
It should be in the top view?
Top view, yeah.
Okay.
Activate the Make2D command, select the objects you want to draw, hit enter. Make sure that you're using current view. For us right now we're using current view. Hidden lines on if you want them. Set your layers. So if I want my objects on the object layer, I put that there. Hidden lines on the hidden layer, put that there. You hit OK. Your line work gets created, move it out of the way, and then you've got it. Are there any questions? Okay, so before moving forward, I want to make sure that you've got that on lock before we move into actually producing our elevations as well.